to 6 and 6, where we cover 6 stories from around the world in 6 minutes or less. With that said, start your timer. We begin today in Brazil, where the Federal Audit Court has approved a 2-stage auction model for the privatizing of Santos Port Terminal planned for the end of 2025. This innovative approach divides the auction into 2 short-term initial contracts and a subsequent long-term concession aimed at attracting diverse investors and improving port infrastructure and efficiency. The strategy seeks to modernize Brazil's logistic infrastructure while mitigating potential market monopolies and providing flexibility for different types of port operators. From Reuters, quote, "The TCU's plan for a 2-stage auction is designed to attract a broad range of interests while safeguarding against potential monopolies that could result from a single-stage process. By initially offering a short-term contract, the authorities hope to assess and improve operational efficiencies before committing to longer terms," Paulina Martinez, an industry analyst, said, end quote. Next, we travel across the world to Morocco, where it's strategically developing 2 new deep water ports in Cantaria and Kahala by 2026 and 2028, respectively, aimed at enhancing maritime infrastructure and trade capabilities. These infrastructure projects are expected to boost economic growth, create jobs, and improve logistical connectivity with Africa and Europe. And the initiative reflects the government's vision to strengthen the country's maritime and industrial sectors and establish Morocco as a leading logistics platform in the region. From Reuters, quote, "The initiative to develop and operationalize these deep-sea ports underscores Morocco's strategic intent to cement its position as a leading logistics platform in Africa," end quote. Next, we travel back across the Atlantic to Cuba, who has strongly denied U.S. allegations or discussions about Venezuela's political future, reaffirming its unwavering support for President Nicolas Maduro. The denial heightens the continued tension between Cuba and the United States, with Cuba maintaining its stance against external interference in Venezuelan affairs. From Reuters, quote, "Cuba's Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez emphatically stated Cuba categorically denies having any contact with the United States about the sister nation of Venezuela and its sovereign future." Rodriguez further accused the U.S. of attempting to manipulate regional dynamics, declaring, "This is a manipulation attempt meant to confuse and destabilize the region," end quote. Next, we travel across the Pacific, where China Foreign Minister Wang Yi expressed serious concern about military activities by Japan and the United States during a meeting with his German counterpart, Alina Barak. He argued that the increasing military cooperation between Japan and the U.S. is creating geopolitical tensions and potentially destabilizing the region. Wang emphasized China's defensive stance and called for a more multilateral approach to regional security. From Reuters, China firmly opposes any attempt to destabilize its vicinity, seeing the American military presence in Japan as an exacerbating factor. Wang Yi warned that Tokyo's growing military alignment with Washington could mistakenly frame China as a potential threat, fueling unnecessary antagonism. Next, we travel to Australia, where the Reserve Bank of Australia and the Federal Reserve are having a policy shift despite the natural disaster that recently happened in Japan. From Reuters, quote, "The market's reaction to the natural disaster was surprisingly muted, with investors noting that Japan's economy and infrastructure are generally well prepared to handle such events. Currency analysts suggest that the yen's strength is currently underpinned by solid trade balance and the cautious monetary policies being adopted by the different central banks, appearing to leave no room for arbitrage," end quote. And finally, we travel to Europe, where Greek farmers launched a large-scale protest against delayed EU farm subsidies blocking major transportation routes, including borders and highways. The demonstrators highlighted critical challenges in the agriculture sector, with farmers demanding immediate government action to resolve subsidy delays. These protests underscore the significant financial strain caused by bureaucratic inefficiencies and the crucial role of timely EU funding for agricultural subsidies. From Reuters, quote, our livelihood depends on those subsidies as they are crucial in managing rising production costs and ensuring the continued viability of our farms. We are not only protesting for ourselves, but also to highlight a systematic issue that affects farmers across the member states, end quote. And of course, if you want to read any of today's articles in their entirety, you can find them in the link in the description below that like and subscribe button. Also down there, you find the podcast on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Podvine, as well as the Twitter handle at Your Daily Flip, where I post links to these episodes on Tuesday and Thursday, and the main America Focus podcast on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So, with all that said, there's only one more thing to say. Stay safe, don't die.